Power ultimately fails, and we're going to be bringing the mob in just a minute to be able to discuss all of this. We've got some great stuff coming up here today. Obviously, within all of my meetings, I have a workbook, a course book that gives you details on all of this great stuff. And let's let the mob in. Let's see, they're barbarians at the gate here. Okay, as we get them coming on in, I see people are joining, which is great. Obviously, nobody wants to put their video on. Please do if you can. Okay, Renat, I could always count on Renat, which is good stuff. Good morning, Renat. How are you?
I am excellent. How about yourself?
Any better, I die laughing. So, as I
Good.
like
Good
to
to
say,
hear.
yeah, no, things are really good. We're going to be getting right into it in just a couple moments. I just want to give everyone the chance to get here. And here comes Greg Coggins. So we got a couple of people coming in, and that's going to be great stuff. So, while I've got you here, Renat, are you working out now? Look at you. Okay, Mr. Muscles here. Doing something like
I,
that.
I gotta keep in shape, otherwise those kids will
It'll
take
tackle
over.
you. Okay. But one of the things that I find really interesting about this particular topic, because it's something that if you follow the pattern of the topics that I try and cover, this really does encapsulate so much of what I really believe in when it comes to peak performance and getting stuff really done properly. Um, and that is, there's biohacks. There's things that you could do that go along the lines of what you want to do. I know Aton is now here. He's actually here in the United States, which is great. And Aton, if you could put up the workbook to make sure that everyone's got it. Greg, did you get the workbook already? Maybe? Okay, yeah?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
good. So you got it. My hope is that all of you have gotten that. This one, I'm not one for rules. I really am not, but these are kind of important. I really wish you would print it up. I know it's 51 pages. I know it's really big. We put a lot of time into this one, and it really is going to give you step by step by step instructions. But Greg, let me pick on you for a second. Then I'm going to pick on Renat. Then I'm going to pick on Hassan. Then I might pick on Eitan. It'll be a fun pick on. I won't hurt you, I promise. How focused do you think you are when it
Oh,
comes to work?
I think I have ADD.
Okay, I hear that a
So
lot.
I, I am, it takes nothing to send me down a rabbit trail, and then I find a split in the road and I go down a different rabbit trail, and I'm not very focused to answer
And,
your question, Ed.
and what do you think generates that? Where do you think that that originates from?
Um, wow.
I knew you weren't
Uh,
expecting it, and you're a winner for answering it, by the way, because everyone else is thinking the same shit, but you're just dealing with me right now. So,
right. So, it's hard for me to say what generates that. I guess I don't do a good job of identifying. Um, I forget what that quadrant graphic is, but what's important and what's urgent. Um, I guess I struggle to stay zeroed in on the things that are important, and I will quickly get distracted by a new urgent task.
okay. Well, you don't look like you've struggled much with your weight, although I don't know you. I've struggled with my weight my whole life. And for those of you that identify with this, you might remember that commercial from the 80s if you lived in the United States for Slim Fast. Did anyone remember the Slim Fast ad? Just okay, Terry remembers it, Greg remembers it. And what did they say? You'll have a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and then a sensible meal for dinner, which to me would be the side of a cow if I had two drinks all day. Okay? Here's the thing. They were pushing willpower. They were pushing like, okay, here's the structure, here's what you do. Fucking A, go on, go get it. And the problem was, and with as it is with almost any type of diet or any type of discipline, whether it's an intellectual diet or a study diet or a work diet, it's just not going to work. At some point, it's going to break down. You're going to give in. Willpower statistically, and if you read the book that we've let out there, uh, Talia, welcome. Make sure Aton, make sure everyone gets a copy of the book here. Um, if you read that, one of the things that you're going to discover is that discipline is engineered. It really is. It's not something that just happens. I'm sure there's plenty of days that Michael Phelps woke up and said, "Fuck it, I don't want to swim." Or that you had Jesse Owens who said, "I don't want to run." Or you have various people who said that, "I just don't want to do it." It's not going to work that way. I mean, so you could say to yourself, okay, these people are special. You got the same lump of clay up here as everyone else does. So all of you are by default capable of remarkable things, and all of you are capable of doing horrible things too. Just know that if everything was empty, if nothing was really going on up here, you would just be something that's actually programmed. Obviously, there's more to the human spirit than just a program. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. Basically, in the booklet, you'll see that there's 4 laws that you need to master. And I'm going to go through these relatively quickly, and then we'll talk about how that applies. First of all, let's talk about what distractions are costing you. These are statistics that I was able to pull up from Microsoft. Um, and what was it? Follow Up Boss did the research. There was a few other things. $30,000 to $50,000 in lost deals from scattered execution. Okay, this was a Microsoft study for a 3-minute interruption. Hey Terry, do you have a second? Sure, Ed. He never says no. Okay, most of you, that's it. That's the time. You sure? But here's the price that you pay for that 3 minutes. 23 minutes of recovery time. 20, this is a research by Microsoft. 23 minutes of recovery time. So while Greg, you might blame it on ADHD or you might say that there's some issue, I'm not saying that any of this is going to make you perfect. And as all of you should know, I'm not going for perfect. I'm just going for getting a little bit better and being able to make it work just a little bit more. So remember, every 3-minute interruption equals 23 minutes of recovery time. If you have 15 daily interruptions, which let's face it, we do at least, we're talking about almost 6 hours of destroyed deep work. Now, a lot of you have heard me talk about the Pomodoro technique, and I still love the Pomodoro technique. That's where you're actually setting aside everything, dedicating 25 minutes of focused work to have kind of like a sprint. One of these things that my research was giving me here was that we could get 2 to 3 daily 90-minute focus times. Again, it's nothing to do with discipline. It's nothing to do with willpower. Willpower dissipates. We're talking about arranging your chemicals a little bit differently. Most of you have heard of dopamine, and the fact that you get a dopamine rush every time you go into your social media feed. So, you're focusing, you're writing that great proposal. You've got the $1 million listing coming up tomorrow. And oh shit, kittens. Wow, I love those kittens. Oh my God, I didn't know a kitten could do that. Look, he's hanging with one. I'm one of the guys that went for kittens. Okay, there, I'm man enough to admit I like kittens. But that's one of the things that'll screw you up because suddenly you'll go over there. Now, why is that? You're getting an instant dopamine hit from that, but there's so much more going on chemically within you. And again, it's outlined in the book, and we will talk about that. So the first thing is get rid of the eliminate the hidden enemies. The phone out of the room, one tab open on your screen, one job that you need to do right now. I know what you guys are doing. You're all scrolling different stuff that's going on here. Now you're going to feel all self-conscious about it. I'm not asking you to change. In fact, you don't even need to impress me. I'm just saying that for your own sake, at the end of the day, if you learn how to just get singularly focused in life, you're going to be far better off. So that's one thing. What's on the desk that you set up? I am guilty of having a very, very messy desk. Messy desks, in fact, Einstein himself had said, if a cluttered desk means a cluttered mind, what does an empty desk mean? That was a direct quote from Einstein. So if you've got a messy desk, Einstein does too, you're in good company. But what I am saying is that if Einstein saw some of the research today, I think he might have cleaned up his desk a little bit. In any case, that's what we're going to do. There are lock boxes available for your iPhone. Did you know that? A timed lockbox. So if you feel as though you can't put the thing down. My daughter, she's not here today, but she taught me this great thing. There's something called Brick. You buy it on I think on Amazon, and you download the app for free. The Brick is about $45, and you tap your iPhone. And unless you have that brick, you can unlock it at any point, but you could set the time where the phone is just, you can't go into special apps. So you want to get to Instagram, that's my go-to social media. No, sorry, you're not allowed. You said it yourself. So you guys will be cursing me at some point with all this. You're gonna be, God damn, Ed, what the hell are you talking about? Um, Okay, so clearing the desk using one screen. Aton has multiple screens in his setup. I know that. Aton, your lesson to you is one screen and one screen only. Okay, next. Trigger the focus ritual. Now, they call this a Pavlovian activation. What is Pavlov? Does everyone know the story of Pavlov's dog? I'll tell it in case you don't. So Pavlov was a researcher, and one of the observations that he found was that if he gave the dog a snack and rang a bell at the same time, the dog would start to salivate in um, in anticipation of the snack. And they were actually able to take the snack away and ring the bell, and the dog actually still salivated. This is stuff, when remember, for those of you who were in the meeting, remember I told everyone that there's a scary face on Star Trek. At the end of Star Trek, there was this scary face that I don't know why it still scares me. I'm 57 years old. It's just a face. Who gives a damn? But I have a conditioned response, a Pavlovian response to that. And Greg was good enough to put that face right up on his screen when he's talking to me, and it scared the daylights out of me. I should be, again, we should get through all this stuff. We should just try and get past those things. It's a little bit silly, but there are triggers that actually trigger that emotion. Regrettably, there are people in abusive relationships that are triggered by this type of stuff as well. That they see someone that might remind them of an abusive father. Women have had this happen, unfortunately, way too much. I care very much about this. I have daughters, and they gravitate towards that because it's what's familiar. What I want all of you to do is become aware of all this. So let's talk about law two, the trigger focus ritual. So this 5 minute Pavlovian activity. One, there's a music anchor. If you go to YouTube before you start working and type in deep work music or deep focus music, you will come up with, well, fuck it. Let me just show you guys. No, just get this up here. YouTube really should be kind of a go-to spot for you because I think there's just so much here. Okay, Aton, can you, or Terry, can you see the screen? Yep. Okay. So deep focus music. Okay, so that was one of them. And you could pick, I mean, I don't know, there's tons of people who put this up there. Here, you know what I need? I need to make it so that you guys could hear it. And you could just
Hey boss, just arrived on site. Gearing up now.
Time theft. It's costing your business.
With Connect Team's G.
too mellow? No? Good, maybe?
I was distracted by time theft.
Okay.
I feel like I'm at the dentist.
Okay, well, then, hey, I showed up, I kept up my end of the bargain. You guys either like the music or you don't. But you could take something like this, and they're saying it's got to be the same song every time. All the stuff, especially for Telia, who's here for the first time, I think, or one of the first times, all the stuff that we do is based on research that people ask us to do. So we put in a lot of time to figure this out. The stuff that we actually pulled up with this, I actually spent the better part of the week on the spare time researching this stuff. And there is science behind it. I'm not a scientist. I'm a realtor. I'm a pretty good public speaker. My mother said I was a wonderful dancer. She lied. But what all the instructions are really saying is try and anchor the music, be able to get one particular song played at one particular time. So you've cleaned up the desk, you've gotten rid of all the clutter, you've gotten rid of all the mental stuff, you've written out all the stuff that you have to do. Oh my God, I got to take this medicine. I'm going, I got to, or I've got to, yeah, okay. Greg's all proud of himself. He's got his notebook. Very good, Greg. You get a star. But we've got so you're setting up. We're trying to make this a lot more ritualistic. That's going to be something that will ultimately help you. Okay, so we have that. Then we're going to have a location anchor. It's going to be sitting in the same spot, or in my case, I'm standing now. I've been sore, so I raised my desk. I've had this great standing desk that I never stand on. So I'm trying to change it up a little bit for you guys here. There's a movement anchor as well. Take 90 seconds to do push-ups, jumping jacks, something before you actually get started. And then, anyone listen to Mel Robbins? She's a great public speaker, if anyone's seen her. Google Mel Robbins. She came up with something. I can't believe she wrote a whole book about it because I'm literally going to summarize the book right now. Pretend you're watching the launch of the space shuttle. It's a countdown 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. If you give yourself, I've actually gotten it much shorter to like 5 second countdown. I do that all the time. Right before I start these meetings, I say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, focus. And I get right into this. Again, it's about the ritual. It's about setting yourself up for an ongoing ritual, and that's what really works. Again, all of this is in the book. Please do take a look. Now let's talk about the actual focus cycle. So we have questions so far. I know I'm talking a lot. This is much less of a Instagram of a social media or AI meeting, but I really do believe that this is important to you. So I really do want all of you to take this on. One of the things that you can use AI for, which I think is great, is the brain dump. I put everything into Notion. Is anyone using Notion? It's another great AI. Aton will.
Taking notes right now.
You're taking notes right now with Notion.
It's transcribing.
Great.
Since you won't let me use Otter,
Yeah, I'm one of those mean guys. But well, look, it's great stuff that you're able to get completely. You know, the problem with the otter is that it sends the emails out to everybody. So we have 10 different otters that come into this. Everyone suddenly gets 10 emails from them. But we'll talk about it. I want you to get these things recorded. So you're going to be able to work with the brain. If you actually think about the amount of time that you can focus, there are brain waves. Most of you have heard of brain waves when you sleep. You probably have not realized that you actually go through a daytime alert pattern as well. And that is about 90 seconds, 90 minutes, that you go through a 90-minute cycle. And what you need to do after each one of those cycles is actually have a true recovery. Movement, no social media, be able to just actually go on a walk, some type of exercise, so no other screens. It's really, really important if that's the time that you want to do. I think if you follow these, and I've actually tried, focusing this way. I've always been into the Pomodoro technique and I've always been into different hacks. But over the last week in preparing for this meeting, I can tell you this stuff works. It really is something that is incredibly helpful, and I hope all of you do this. Remember, there is a rhythm to this whole science. The first 0 to 20 minutes, the focus deepens. You're actually ramping up. 20 minutes to 70 minutes, you've got this, we call that the peak performance zone. So that's when you're going to be in your peak performance. Minute 70 to 90, the fatigue signal begins. Your body's talking to you. You might not be hearing it, but it is talking to you. So I think it is really important to focus on this. Now, what other things can you do? Cold water, splash in the face. Sounds a little bit too simple, but it does work. Splash water on the face, 30 seconds. Increases norepinephrine. Who knows what norepinephrine is? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, go ahead, Greg. Unmute for a second. Okay. So norepinephrine, what do you think it does?
it's I don't want to say pleasure, it's the motivation chemical in your brain
It,
that picks up
it's the
your
laser
attitude.
pointer.
There you go.
Think of it as a laser pointer. So we know what dopamine is. You get that rush when you open up your iPhone and you get your quick dopamine hit. Don't do that. Why? Because it's actually going to make you crash. It's going to crash the laser pointing because you don't need the laser pointing anymore. You already got the reward. There's a certain firing order for all these chemicals. And you know what? I thought it was total bullshit until I started doing it. And then I realized it actually works. Whoa, hey, I'm a lot better than I thought I could be. So if you take a look at just what's happening with the norepinephrine, you're going to increase that by having some type of sudden shock. Ice cold water on the face really does help. Green tea. Okay, I'm not a big green tea drinker, so that's something that for those that are, you'll have to decide. But you can have coffee. I love coffee. And chewing mint gum. Again, the science says that it increases alertness by 15 to 20%, chewing mint gum. So, once again, I haven't tried that personally. This is what the science is saying. Duration session, standing desk. Okay, you can see I'm actually doing that right now. I'm standing. Okay, well, maybe you can't see me, but I am standing, trust me. Um, and yeah, hydrating regularly. That's the other side of it. Again, this is such the master of the obvious if you really stop and think about it. And it's just a big, sharp turn from where we're usually talking about AI. But I do think that this is so important. And then recovery, walk outside, stretch yoga, deep breathing, a 4-7-8 pattern. I'll let you look that one up. Hydrate, 16 ounces of water, and gratitude journaling. Big, big stuff. So I want you to all think about all of this because really, if you get in with the chemicals that are actually working in your body, you right now think about the four of them. We've got the serotonin, that's the love uh, hormone. They always say you fall in love with someone, oh, you all the serotonin's all there. It's actually goes a little bit beyond that if you're working in the right pattern with these chemicals, you're going to do very, very well or much, much better. So the biggest problem that you all have, just for the purpose of this meeting, manage your dopamine. Get less focused on the scatterbrain type of stuff or stay away from things like your Instagram, your social media, and stuff like that, and work much harder on a long-term approach. If you go through these rituals, what you will find is you will have far greater focus. Now, does anyone do everything perfectly? Look, the God gave us 10 commandments, and he knew that most of you were going to break some of them. Okay. And I'm one who really believes that, just hopefully not the murder one. But if you could actually stop and think this through and take a little bit of time, I think you could do very, very well with it. So questions, ideas. Who's having a focus issue or who's had this focus issue? Some of you came to the meeting for a reason. I am curious to see what your thoughts are. I mean, Rich, I haven't seen you in a long time here. My door's sliding open here.
That's because I lose focus, Ed.
Because you lost focus. Okay, well now you're here.
There you go. Now you
So
can
so
let me
so
see the light.
welcome. Want to just tell everyone who you are and where you are?
Hi, everyone. Rich Goldberg. I'm from Villanova, Pennsylvania. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway Luxury Homes, and that's my deal.
Okay.
I've been at it for 10 years, 11 years, whatever.
Well, it's good to see you. Welcome. Let's
Nice to be seen.
Talia, you mind if I pick on you for a second? Yeah, no. Okay. Look, it's a loud place. Can you? You got such a sweet face. I just don't want to piss you off. That's eventually I'll piss you off. I don't know if somehow that works out that way. No,
You do have a habit, Edmund. Yes,
yeah, I
indeed.
fuck things up. You're right. Okay. I don't know if you could unmute yourself, but if you can, please do.
It's
But it,
kind of loud in here. I don't know if you can hear me.
hey, so where are you?
I am in Charleston.
In Charleston. Okay.
I was invited by Greg.
Oh, I was going to say I wanted to introduce you to Greg. So he's a good guy. Okay. Well, welcome. I
Glad to
hope
be here.
I hope all of this resonates well. Let me just see who else is hiding from me right now. Let me just go on with one other thing. I'm having a meeting. I'm having a Zoom meeting on Friday. It's not really a mastermind in the same sense. I have a phenomenal speaker who's going to be there. His name's Shoham Cohen. He's a survivor of the Nova concert in 2023. He actually has video footage, which is not for the meek. We together edited some of this that he was hiding out while friends of his were being killed. He truly believes that there's innocence in everywhere. I think that he's got a very interesting kind of spirituality about the guy. And he went through a horrible, harrowing experience. I have a passion for what's going on in the world and how to try and bring about a lasting peace. If that someday is possible, hopefully within my lifetime, maybe, maybe not. But he's going to be speaking at 12 noon Eastern time, and he'll be taking your questions as well. I don't want to go, I mean, again, I know this is a very divisive topic that people have various opinions here. I'm a Jew, I'm a proud Jew. I believe that we need to have an open dialogue because as soon as you don't have an open dialogue, that's when things tend to fail. And if you guys are free and would like to come, it's going to be at 12 o'clock this Friday. That's 12 Eastern. Again, remarkable young man. He's been through a lot, and he's got a lot to say. And incidentally, if any of you have some great speakers or topics that you would like me to address, I will be happy to do that. That's what we really do here is we take the time to research the stuff and go out and bring that up. The following Wednesday's meeting, we're going to be working on that and getting that out there to all of you. But I do want to get on with some more of this here. What's going on with all of you as far as the work goes? I need a brave soul, perhaps John, perhaps Terry, perhaps Greg, to actually speak up and tell us where they feel their failure point has been. I mean, I could tell you that for me, it really is that doom scrolling, which my daughter has always pointed out, that I really do have that whole doom scrolling thing going on. It's a bad habit. It needs to be fixed. Okay, John, please, want to just tell everyone who you are and where you are?
Hi there. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Bainton, and I'm a realtor at Compass, and I'm in Fairfield County, Connecticut. And I've been part of Edmund's group for, gosh, almost probably close to 10 years, I'd say.
Mm,
It's been a while.
he gets a prize.
Um, but yeah, I think business has been actually upticking for me this fall. Um, it's all kind of like within my own network where things just kind of came together. I wasn't really actively looking for the business, which is a great thing. But I will tell you where I've fallen is I just have been incredibly selfish and doing a lot of things for me and my family and just like have been just distracted with personal things that have definitely taken my mind off of the ball for business.
Okay, so you feel guilty about this.
Well, I mean, to some degree, because I know I can produce better. I mean, I know if I know I am putting in a lot less effort than I'm capable of.
Okay, but you're making a living.
Yes, I'm doing
Okay,
quite well, actually.
it's pretty good actually. You're in kind
Good
of like
problem. It's a good, I mean, it's a good problem, but like, listen,
yeah,
business is getting harder, not easier,
yeah.
in a lot of ways, it's really it weighs on me that I want to make sure that I am staying on the leading edge of how this business is going to transform, and that's where a lot of these topics I think are really important for all of us to take into consideration and focus on because as Edmonds to coin your term, if you don't get with it, you're going to get run over.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of true, but I also say don't work so hard that you're going to be carried out by your pallbearers.
No,
You know,
no,
I,
and
w- I
I'm
went
not
to,
advocating for that. I
yeah.
just, I about 3 or so years ago, I kind of had a little bit of a pivotal point where I just decided, you know what, I'm going to focus on what really makes me happy and really put my energy into the things that I'm very passionate about, and my business will follow that.
Okay.
And I think that is a very, I don't think it's not a guarantee, but I do think that. If you are passionate about things, that you are presenting the most authentic version of yourself. And I think people recognize with that and identify with that. And it's really easy to grow your business in that like field or that, space.
Okay, so let's have a target here. And I'm glad you brought this up because you're giving the perfect example. You have a great life, a great family. You said the word selfish, which I want everyone to be as selfish as you are, spending time with your kids. Believe me, at the end of your life, you're not going to regret going on a road trip with your kids. I'll
Exactly.
regret many things, but that's one of the things that you won't regret. And you're making a living, so great. How much more of a living would you want to make? There is a stopping point. I hate when people say it's limitless. It's not limitless. Life is not limitless. There is a point where you do stop. So without telling us how much you make, maybe by percentage, or at least get the target in your head if you don't want to share.
I would say probably an extra 40 to 50%.
It's big.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. I think I'm for any of us that have been in the business for a while, I think we all saw a pretty big surge, in 2020 and 21 and 23, up to 23, then things kind of started falling off a little bit, and so we got kind of comfortable making a lot more money. And I think I'd just like to kind of make sure I can help maintain that again. And,
Okay.
so I would say my business is down probably about 30, 40%, but I'm still doing very, very well. I mean, I'm doing better than I was 6 years ago.
Okay. And now you've got so you're doing better than you did 6 years ago, which is great. Very, very happy about that. But when did the selfishness start?
I would say probably like the last probably 3 years, like 2, 3 years. Like
Okay.
where I'm just like actively just saying yes to things. And I think this is also just like kind of life moments. It's like 46 years old. You start seeing people around you get sick and dying and things like that. And
Hold on,
having
you're
really,
46?
yes.
Oh, you're old. You're real old. You're gonna
No,
die soon.
no, but like you know what I'm saying. As we get older, we start really like recognizing that time is our last luxury, right?
Mm,
So, and I have kids that are 10 and 12, and they're like the golden ages of kids. I mean, not that any age is bad, but I just, they're little people, and they're fun to be around, and they love us, right? So it's like
sure.
you just want to bottle them. And it's like, so I'm like, this time is going to fly by. So you just do the things that are important to you and take those extra vacations and spend the extra money on the things that you want to do with them, because you know what? Before you know it, it'll be gone and they'll be in college. And that's,
What's interesting, you could also batch all this stuff. My Aton is here. He's in the other room now, but he's here in the United States with us now. And, yesterday I said, look, can we get over to, I go to the clubhouse. Again, I live in a gated community and there's a clubhouse and now they got a breakfast there and all this. And I went to the clubhouse with people. I'm very well off, but I'm the poorest guy in the richest neighborhood. Okay. And I ran into somebody that was there. And he immediately went in with the fact that he's in his late 80s, he's bored, and he wants to do some more real estate investment. Okay. And I had his undivided attention like that. Was that fun? To me, it was fun. It was good to sit down and meet with people. Was that putting myself in the direct path of where I know businesses? I told that to Aton. I have to go to the club every
yep.
single day. I must. It is not just the problem with it is it sounds like fun. And what does this have to do with you, John? What this has to do with is like, is there a way that you could tie some opportunistic business gathering in your own personal life? I'm a
No,
huge social prospector.
yeah, that is, I think also where the things ticked over for me as well, is I'm like, you know what? By going to the clubs that I'm affiliated with and hanging with the friends that I associate myself with, like business will come to me. And it's just about like just being present. And I tell my wife this all the time because I'm a very extroverted person. I'm out all the time. And I wish I could say, hey, everyone just calls me when they're thinking about real estate, but they don't. You have to be present. And there, timing is everything. And if you can, you know, not that you should need to be a salesperson out there, like, beating all your friends up and everyone about like how you're the person, the go-to person. But, if you're part of the conversation, you're at least present, and then they will think of you, and you can actually hopefully turn some of those opportunities into like actual, business and transactions. So, it's all, I think, it's tough being a salesperson because you never can turn yourself off. But I feel like if you're in an environment where people respect you for the connection that brings you all together, that it's a
Mhm.
whole lot easier to just say, hey, like this is how I make a living. I help people buy and sell homes. And my new thing, a lot of people ask me that don't know me. They're like, oh, what do you do for a living? I say, I sell used houses. So sometimes I sell a new one, but most of them are used.
We could talk about at some point, and Aton will talk about this later. We had a meeting in the past called icebreakers, how to actually approach someone in the first place. How do somebody's right next to you, and I'm going to get you in a second, Mark. They're right next to you. They're talking about, oh, we're going to list. You hear it going on. Oh my God. I want that. They were describing everything perfectly. Yeah, we live at Woodfield. Woodfield, I live right near Woodfield. It's like, oh yeah, we've been here for 10 years and the kids just graduated. Oh, stop. This is like crazy stuff. The kids just graduated. They live in Woodfield. They're talking about, and that that's a big deal. And here's the thing, someone is going to get the deal. How do we create an icebreaker? We're going to talk about that at some point. Eitan, let's go through this. I want to get some more research in, and we'll be able to get together and make that. Mark Lawrence, my title maniac in New York. You want to just introduce yourself to everyone and tell
You
us what
didn't
you got
say it,
to
my
say?
fat boy,
Oh,
fellow
my
fat
fat boy.
boy.
Yes, he's my fellow fat boy. You know, the Fat Boy
Uh,
Fit Club. Here we go.
exactly. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Lawrence. I've actually been with Ed for, well, not in a relationship sense, but I'd be happy to be. 25 years of friendship and listening to him talk about this stuff, and I still come back for more.
You see that?
But
Shows
John,
what a schmuck you are. That's
I don't know. I have no friends, and I have to hang out with Ed online. Um, now listening to what John says, actually, and at 46, I'm 56, so turn the clock 10 years forward, and I have a 24, 20, soon to be 25-year-old. So, I think Edmund's kids are around the same age
same
as
age,
mine.
yeah.
So, right. So, we're 10 years forward. So the key is, what do you want to do in those next 10 years, John? Definitely, you got to look at the scorecard. I mean, if you said being a parent, being a dad, am I getting an A in that? Take that A, and that's important. Or you have a good relationship, that could be a B plus, A, whatever. And then also add in obviously the business part. And obviously, you talked about numbers going down. Some of it is cycle driven. I think also as we get older too, we have to focus in this part of this overall discussion on past clients, people we've done business with. We have to gravitate to do, if we want to do less because we want to spend more time on other stuff, then we've got to focus on, the time that we're spending for work and make it important. I mean, we gravitate to the things, as Greg was saying earlier, stuff that distract us. And I think we're all guilty of that. But sometimes that's a guilty pleasure. So I think you have to be just being mindful of it, of your time, where it's spent, and don't knock yourself or, I could be doing better in this. Instead reward you or pat yourself on the back for, hey, listen, I'm doing a great job at spending time with my family, and as Ed said, at the end of the days when you pass away, nobody's gonna remember, oh, I worked, another 6 hours that day. So I think it's a healthy balance, but you bring up really good points, and if you do want to do a little bit more, then, focus on that, focus on the things that have brought you your ROI, your best ROI, which Ed
It,
talks about a lot.
if there's one thing that you could take away from the meeting, John and Mark and everybody, that is this: just get off the autopilot. It's so tough because all I do is talk about AI, which is autopiloting things. I get it. I'm sounding, but you yourself to go just on autopilot, you wake up, and if you go through a certain ritual and you're disciplined about that ritual, it's almost hard to break away from that ritual. So, I've been saying that there's a lot of the work that you put in. There was a woman actually an ex-girlfriend, and I ran into her ex-girlfriend from a long, long time ago. I've been married a long time, and I ran into her, and she said that she really was not very happy with her boss. What do you do now? So I'm still a recruiter. I'm like, okay, and what are you not happy about? Well, he requires that I come to work and I really work on my own, just as we do. We eat what we kill, right? We only get paid when we sell. She's the exact same way. I'm like, okay, well, then perhaps he shouldn't be requiring you to come into the office. It sounds like actually illegal that you can't just require someone to do that when you're a 1099. Yeah, well, I don't want to get him upset. I'm like, okay, fair enough. You want to work very hard. How many hours a day do you put in? She goes, I might work 1 real hour a day. I'm like, 1 real hour a day? She's like, yeah, I make enough. I'm like, okay, so you make enough. You're not really driven by the money. And she was always very nice, and people gravitated towards her. And when you're in something like a sale like this, she sells legal support to law firms. So she sells the paralegals, or she sells different ancillary kind of employees. And she has figured out how to do X amount of deals within that period of time. But here's the thing, she felt guilty about it. I said to her, A, get a handle on the boss. Get a handle on the boss. The guy's not, you work 1 hour a day. He wants to see you sitting at your desk. She goes, yeah, I'm scrolling things. I mean, she's not working because she just doesn't have to, because she's just so darn good at whatever she's doing. So I'm like, okay, here's a crazy thought. Find a way to work 2 hours a day, but do that 4 days a week. Demand from the boss that you're out at least on Fridays because she really valued her personal time. What I just described to you, instead of 1 hour a day, which equals 5 hours in a week, if this is really true, and I think she needs to audit her time, if you work 4 days a week, that's actually 8 hours. You've just given yourself a 60% raise, okay? And you're working less physical time there, and you're spending more time at ultimately, she did a little bit of this. Again, I couldn't communicate too much. Again, she's an ex-girlfriend, and there's no good that will come out of that. But we did connect on LinkedIn. To me, that was the most professional social media. Greg, you had your hand up for a second. If you could unmute yourself, go ahead.
So, back in my corporate days, I learned something. I went through a class and we talked about how much you get done in the 2 days before you leave on a week's vacation
Yes.
than you do in in a regular week. And then I translated that into the way I dealt with my direct reports, and I put them on a no schedule, no requirement for hours, no requirement for being at your desk, work from your home, work from the beach, whatever, but you must get these things done. So it was goal driven. And so many of my people started working 4-day work weeks. Some of them even 2 days. They'd put in 12, 14, 16 hours on those 2 days. But we got so much more done, and the quality of the work was so much greater. And I kind of think it goes to what you're talking about. It's not really about how much time you spend working, it's how much time you spend focused on what you're doing.
Sure.
And when you give people the opportunity not to have to work a bunch of hours, they focus, laser focus.
Yeah.
Anyway, my two
I
cents.
mean, it's the volume of wasted time. I think about this a lot. Is remarkable. It's staggering. It's staggering how much. Yeah, and everyone is ADHD. If I hear that one more time, everyone. Yeah, you look at this. Talia is nodding there, or maybe she's nodding at somebody else. I don't know what she's got going on there, but yes, ADHD. Like I hear this from everybody. There's always something that's going to be distracting. John, you need to figure out how much is enough. Because my feeling with you, based on our past conversations, you hit that 40 to 60% more, and then you want to get to the next level. Then it's going to be even higher than that. I just think it's a
But
losing
yeah,
proposition.
no, that's, I mean, it's, listen, it's very true. I mean, everyone's lives and needs, I guess, wants, needs, whatever you want to call them, do change. I mean, listen, I've got two boys, private school tuition. Like I didn't have that expense, a couple of years ago. So, you either need to make sacrifices or you need to work harder to make up the gap,
or work
um,
smarter,
or work smarter. I
or
mean,
work smarter,
I'm not very good
yeah.
at sacrificing, so I'm a little bit better at managing my top line than my bottom line. And
Okay.
I, and listen, I'm honest about that, right?
If your average price point has been $1 million, $500,000, $5 million, I don't care. Whatever you actually think, find a way to make that average price point higher. If
Yeah,
you're
it's interesting. That's a very interesting discussion, right? Because like I think, and this is just, one of my other kind of like things that just like helps me kind of authenticate my efforts, right? And one of those is I try not to look as much at dollar volume as I look at transactions. And
okay,
I look at transactions because, if I'm selling 12 to 25 homes a year, I know that I'm working. Like I know that I'm working hard. And sometimes those years can be, translate into, $15 million of volume or $30 million of volume, right?
okay,
And a lot of it has a lot to do with just luck. I am in a transition point where like more of my clients are getting wealthier and they're trading up for bigger homes, which helps the dynamic. But I feel like if I know that I'm at least doing 12 transactions a year or 20 transactions a year, I know I'm working hard, and the income will be what it's going to be, right? And
Mhm.
I try not to beat myself up on that because you don't want to get lazy. Like you could have a year where you could do $30 million in 10 transactions, right?
Good.
That would be great. But you know
Mm.
what? Are you working hard? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think you are. I think if you did, 18 transactions that year, you would have been working harder. And maybe that $30 million should have been, 40.
So do you feel guilty if it comes to you easily?
No, trust me,
Okay.
I'm happy to take easy. If it's
Okay,
better to
good. I'm
easy,
glad.
lucky than smart. But I just think that it's really important to me, and I think in general in this profession, because we don't have a boss, right? We don't really answer to anyone except for ourselves. And I feel like I can look myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I should be proud of myself. I did 18 transactions this year, right? Like
Yeah,
I
you
know
should.
that is like a thing that like you know that you're working hard.
Mhm.
If I did 8 transactions, I would be like, either the market's horrible or I'm not working very hard, right? So I feel like transaction numbers, it's listen, everyone hopes to do the fewest transactions at the highest dollar volume, but I do think that when you go into cycles, and especially like the other thing I think about transactions is that you're touching more people with every transaction, and
Mhm.
that's sweat equity, right? So
Mhm.
every time, like if you do a $200,000 condo, I look at that, listen, it's not a lot of money at the end of the day for me, but that I'm touching another person, I'm hopefully creating another happy customer that's putting you know, goodness into my world.
Sure.
Um,
Look, there's definitely all of that, and we could go into systems and we can go into various things. I'm just going on your words, and that was that you feel guilty about your time with the kids and that you could be more, you could do 40 to 60% more if you could come up with a hack to be able to get that without putting that much more effort in or making the time that you've actually spent that much more productive. I don't know, maybe you are deeply focused when you do work, and maybe that's why you're able to spend so much time with your kids.
yeah.
Maybe it is a sacrifice of time that has to go on. Again, I can't answer that, but what I can say is for those of you who come up with a strategy and a structure, that is what's going to win out over willpower. Willpower will die out, just like the slim fast diet. The will, but strategy and structure. When you say, okay, here's the desk, here's what we're working on, here everything's shut off. Now I'm going to focus just on this particular thing. I've got the cue music that's going to start at a particular time, same song every time, same position that I'm actually in. My browsers are closed. I've got one thing to actually focus on, and that you actually spend the time to doing that. Of course we're going to fail. There's a failure rate. We're in sales. But there's also a big win. And to find that baseline of where you're going to be successful is really a very difficult thing to do, but there certainly could be more. Let me move on to a couple of other. Uh, was somebody ringing here? My problem is shutting everything else off. You're right. Am I saying Tilia properly? Is that you're right, Tilia? It is shutting everything else off is a real bummer. I've got especially this meeting. When you log in, I'm controlling this meeting here. And there's been somebody that's been trying to get in for the last hour. I know what's happening. Something's wrong with her computer. She didn't update the software. I can't answer. I'm with you guys right now. I've got to focus. But just the fact that I've got to hit that, it's pulling me away in a different direction. And you're right. I can't shut that off. In fact, I don't want to shut that off. I want them to come to the meeting. I want them to be able to enjoy it. Same with social media. There are things that I'm doing for my business that has directly to do with social media. I mean, I talk about it in these meetings all the time. I make money as a direct result of the content that I put out there, and I could prove it. So, how do you actually avoid that? And the only thing I could say is this meeting's never about being perfect. I will be as imperfect as the rest of you. But if I could get John to make a little bit more money without expending that much more effort and still enjoying his kids. And if I could get all of you to kind of think along the lines of really taking some real enjoyment in this work. I mean, it's a courageous business that we're in. Public speaking is one of the biggest fears that people have. They fear it more than death. So if somebody died and I was giving a eulogy, I'd rather be the guy in the box than the guy giving the speech. It's kind of crazy. Jerry Seinfeld said that. Okay? It's a funny quote. And I will also say this. Who here knows Laura Bucciolati? Laura's been in the meeting for she hasn't been because of, well, personal reasons for the last few months. She's a dear friend. I've done many deals with her. Her husband suddenly passed away. This was last week. And it just once again reminds me that, so if you do know her, I just want to give you the heads up on that. And you might want to send her a card or reach out if you don't. But this is somebody who's been a longtime friend, somebody I've done a lot of deals with. The guy was 70 years old. He just turned 70 2 weeks before. Not a heck of a lot of time. So, John, under your theory about time, you got 24 years. Under my theory of time, I've got 13 years. Okay. I mean, look, my daughters hate when I discuss this. They think it's morbid. I don't. I think that knowing that there's a deadline, you got to get some stuff done. We got to get this
I
right.
just hope I die standing up.
You hope you die standing up. Well, at one point
Yeah.
you will be horizontal. I guarantee it. Okay.
Well, no, I know, but like it's a fun way to think of it, right?
Yeah.
You go out like not on your deathbed, but like doing something you love.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I told Aton this. I want to get a tattoo on my foot with my telephone number and a note that says, if found, please call. Because I figure I've always been a wise ass, and I'd really love to. There's going to be somebody that's going to handle me, right? I don't know who, but somebody, and I want to give that last person a laugh.
I don't know, your foot could be a little wrinkly. You got to find a spot that will definitely won't
No,
shrivel up.
and I spoke to a tattoo artist. They said it's painful as hell to put a tattoo on the bottom of your foot.
There's no
I'm like,
fat.
plus I'm Jewish, so I figured you're not supposed to have tattoos if you're Jewish. So that's like a bad thing. But I looked at no, too painful. I'm also a wimp. Okay, wants, needs, and brags. Now it's time in the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you want to brag about. I want to brag about Friday, 12 noon, phenomenal speaker. The guy's lived through an awful lot. He's got a very balanced viewpoint of the Middle East. And again, he's a very young man. He was never planning on being this big public speaker, but he is. And we've got him here, 12 noon on Zoom. I'd love to have you if you can. His name is Shohem Cohen. Um, he went through a lot. That's what I could just tell you, that he was hiding out with his cell phone, basically capturing a lot of atrocities, and he lived, and he was ultimately saved.
I just have
What?
one question before we go to the brags. Is just I'm just a quick poll of everyone on here because I work at Compass and Compass. We just had our annual meeting or our quarterly call with the analysts on Wall Street last night or yesterday, and we were talking about ChatGPT and how it's growing business for established agents that aren't paying into these systems, but like they're actually getting business because of their transaction history. Has anyone in this group like actually found organic growth and calls from ChatGPT?
Yes, she's not here right now, but I would tell you to speak to who's the nice Lisa Murray from
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yep.
That she said that she's now picked up 3 clients from Perplexity, and she wasn't even expecting it because she's indexed very high. Yes, and that's another thing Eitan and I need to thoroughly research. I know they're calling this similar to search engine optimization, LLM optimization, or AI optimization. There's various techniques that you could do to improve it. I need to school myself in this a lot more before I start lecturing on it. Again, that's what we do, though.
Well, I just
And
think it behooves us, for those of you that have been in the business for some time now and have the transaction history, to make sure that it is somehow connected to the interweb, right? Because that's how it's going to get sorted, and that's how this is free business that is coming to seasoned agents, which is kind of like the reverse of what the Zillow and the other portals have been trying to sell less experienced agents for a long time.
Okay. Well, oh, hold on. This actually worked well here. Look what I just did on Perplexity. Now,
It's
again,
automatic.
it's automatic.
It does. It searches through. If somebody goes in and asks ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, who's the best real estate agent in this geography, it searches MLS records. It searches Zillow. It searches your review sites, Google reviews, and the other sites, and it uses that data to rank the agents. It's pretty incredible, and
Okay,
you
but
need to be ahead of it.
in this instance, I used the keyword realtor near me, and it came up. Douglas Elliman Real Estate offers waterfront agents such as Edmund Bogen and team localizing. but it doesn't give everyone else's name. So is this search coming up because I'm Edmund Bogen doing that search?
Well, yeah, because it's probably recognizing your IP address as being the closest to your
Okay,
IP address.
okay, let's see. Realtor in zip code.
Yeah, why don't you plug in my zip code just for
Okay,
curiosity?
what's your zip code?
06820.
Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got here. Here are several reputable realtors and agencies serving Darien, Connecticut. William Pitt, Coldwell Banker, William Ravis, Howard Hanna, and
Which
then
is
we've
interesting
got
because I know, like for example, like in this market, like Compass is number one, and Compass is even in the top three, which is kind of interesting.
okay, but they also now have a deal with
Zillow,
well, no, actually, yeah, well, let's see ChatGPT now. Okay, realtor in zip code. Tell me that what it was again.
06820.
Okay, so let's take a quick peek. Here's strong real estate option for you. William Pitt.
So
Okay,
William
so,
Pitt
so
comes up
that's
twice.
interesting. So maybe they were pulling the data. Let me try this one more time. I don't even need this from you. I could just go
And by the
here.
way, they're like third or fourth in our market. Just for everyone else's like
Okay,
knowledge.
no, and it's only giving us that as the option. That's pretty
Yeah.
fucking wild. Okay, let's see Claude. This is a competitive AI.
This is why I think it's really interesting to because this is if we can find ways to hack this system, this is like a lot of free leads, right? And
Yeah, look, it's great if it works, and it's great if you have someone on the team. You could personally spend so much time like chasing after this. In other words, if you have the right person on the team to do it, I think it's great. So here's
but
the
I think as we all kind of experience in
so
most of the
who's Ingrid
markets,
Hess? Do you know Ingrid Hess?
I do. She's in my office.
Okay, so do you know Serena Richards?
I do.
Rachel Walsh?
Yep. Yep.
So
And I think what differentiates these from others is I think that they have had websites, like personal websites for a really long time. And I think that that's a very key differentiator for a lot of us going forward is you have to have an online presence that directly links to you. And it can't just be a sub page within your brokerage because, there's thousands of agents that have pages on Douglas Elliman or Compass or, Berkshire Hathaway or whatever firm you're with. So you need to have a standalone site, I think, is what I think is or comes down to.
okay.
I want to throw two things in here. First, ChatGPT, and specifically ChatGPT, is now the new Google. People are going to that to say who is the best real estate agent. And the other thing that I will say, well, I have a need, Edmund, and that is for y'all to quit talking about age, because none of you hold a candle. Um,
Okay.
and I've already forgotten what my second
You
point
see, well,
was.
that's your
That's
age
fine.
thing, okay, Pops?
That's right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it's not, let me just see, realtor in
Oh,
zip
I
code.
remember what it is.
Okay, go
Ask
ahead.
it. Ask the AI what are you basing your ranking on? And you can also ask it, how do I get
How do I
higher
improve
in
my
your
ranking?
rankings?
Yeah.
Okay, while they're doing this, it's like,
Maybe you could ask it for a solid and have it do some work for you.
what are you basing uh your choice of real or on? Okay, let's just see if anything came up. Now it's still looking here.
If I can tell
Brent,
you something, I looked into this already,
yeah.
and on my browser, there's a source code. So when you look at it, I don't remember exactly how I got to it, but I researched this. So if you look at it in the actual source where it's searching, it will tell you the exact link where it got that information from and which websites promote those agents. So it uses not just their personal websites, but it uses Zillow, it uses Redfin, it uses Realtor, it uses a bunch of different real estate websites that are known to pull that data, and it uses the actual MLS listings data to recommend them.
Sure. Okay. Well,
And it
look,
looked,
sorry.
I read your screen real quick there, Edmund, and it looked like it was grabbing realtors that would be competitive to you. Because
Yes.
I saw something about it used luxury, and so it
But
grabbed that information based on you.
so
Um,
so it grabbed Champagne and Parisi, which I had my license with originally. Caesar Parisi has done a lot to get his he's a computer scientist. So he's done an awful lot over the years to keep himself optimized in social media. He called me up. I think he wants me to join his team again, which I won't, but I would love to get a drink with him and see what he's doing if he'll talk to me about it. There was also the Ligoris. Now, the Ligoris, I think, are number 5 in the country. So it makes sense that they've got great business. At least the choices, I don't mind losing. And well, I do. But I really hate losing to an asshole. You guys ever lose to someone you're like, oh my God, why did they pick them? It's like, how could she go out with him? I don't get it. Ugh, yuck. What is it? To me, I hate losing to the wrong person. I'm man
No,
enough to lose, but
and
when I
that's what's
see,
really interesting. And you know, that was a really big point that our CEO was making was that that you know, because Compass in general has a lot of really top producing agents in all the markets that they're in, that they are seeing more and more AI business being driven to them, which is like a new phenomenon where it's like actually coming to them and you know it's helping increase market share for the top 10% again, right? And you're not having to pay for it because like in my market, if I wanted to be a top agent with Zillow, I would have to spend 15 to $25,000 a month with Zillow,
hmm,
right? And you know, in theory, this other AI searching is free, and it is searching off based off real data, which is transactional, and that's fed by the MLS. You know, so it's your track record is working for you, is what I'm trying to say,
got it.
and that would be really, you know, I think it's just ways to optimize that and make sure that it's being captured the right way is probably what we all need to be focused on.
Yeah. Hold on, let me just get this. Yeah, look, there's many different ways to slice it. Again, if all of you could just get a little bit better with all of this, there's a theory. I don't know if anybody read the book From Good to Great, that if you could make yourself 1% better each day, Johnny Garecki, I think you'd like this. If you could make yourself 1% better each day, in 72 days, the compounding effect would make you 100% better. Okay, the biggest problem that I have with that is how do you actually judge what is 1% better? Are you making one more phone call? Is it making one more move? What are you doing to actually get 1% better? How do you actually track that? I always had a problem with that in the book, and I never got a real satisfying answer. Although, for those that did read the book, they kind of agree with that, and they do try and stretch this out. Again, I don't want you to think of this as making yourself work much harder. Most of you work your asses off. Okay, most of you work really hard, and you don't even know it. It's really about coming up with a strategy and structure that's going to work. Okay, still wants, needs, and brags. I want to get to any of you who want to take a little bit of time and tell us about maybe a deal that you've done, maybe it could be any number of things. Who wants to share? Okay, Terry, please.
Well, it's interesting this topic today because I feel like my focus has been pulled this year by trying to get a team together and working. I mean, for the first time in my career, my team is still together after 6 months.
Okay,
But
good.
in this particular market, it has been excruciating to try to get them to make money. So my brag is that Lawrence, who's on my team, has brought in a $1.75 million deal all on
Good.
his own.
That's
Booyah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Ooh.
booyah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you see, so there's, and how long has Lawrence been on the team?
Oh, a year.
Okay, and is that his first deal in that time?
It's not the first deal that he's brought in.
Okay.
It's just the first one that I feel is actually going to close. He's brought in other things that just, I mean, are you sure you want to take this? It is 15 miles away from where we do business, and it's at a price point that If you break it down to how much you would make per hour, you should just be making coffee at Starbucks because, but you have to learn those things on your own. But this is a good listing. This is a good
Yeah.
listing.
Well,
Yeah.
good. I wish you luck with it. Who
Thank
else?
you.
Bronstein's and Braggs. Anyone? 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 Okay. Again, it's not an official mastermind meeting, although all of you are invited to it this Friday, 12 o'clock. We've got the next meeting here is going to be on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Topic will be announced shortly. And Terry,
Me?
are you with me, Terry?
Are you talking to me?
I don't see no one else around. I'm talking to you.
Yes, Edmund, I
Okay.
am here and I'm ready.
Okay. So when Terry says that he's ready, it makes me look at all of you and say, it sure is great seeing all of you. I'm really grateful that all of you showed up today, and I look forward to seeing all of you next time for another exciting episode of.
Rain Nation.
Hey. Okay. Again, with that, Terry, we're never able to finish the meeting. Johnny, gonna have lunch with you at some point soon, I hope. I really would love to see you. Talia, I'd love to catch up with you by phone if you have time today. That would be great. Renat, I hope to see you Friday. I'm sure I will. Greg, you're a good man. Thank you. Rich, great to have you back. All of you people, those I'm not seeing here, thank you all so much for coming, and I hope to see you next time.
Thank
Have
you,
a
Ed.
great day.
Bye.